I have a question about if I've noticed a pattern inside of me, and it's, and it even got triggered by you,
Okay.
uh, and and that's about I don't I don't want to say what I'm about to say. It's just I'm not saying that um, you did anything wrong
Yeah,
or
yeah,
in my
totally.
belief, but it triggered something, and that's and that was about with the um, oh yeah, with the word Putin. So stupid. So what happened? I felt like you were making. So there was this sensation. I'm not talking objectively that I truly believe this, but it's just the feeling that comes up, and that's like
Yeah,
you're almost like you're lying. You're not trying hard enough.
yeah.
Like you're almost like that's like you're making uh, a victim, like becoming a victim out of it, and not even really want to try. And that's something I'm struggling now with my sister. My sister has a concussion, and my sister always had a tendency to fall into the victim side, and I tended to fall to the hyper responsible side. And
Mm.
I don't see both as healthy. They were both extremes, and they were both not healthy, and that we clashed, obviously, of course, a lot. And and now I'm having a really hard time because I'm doing some stuff for her because she can't do things,
Yeah.
some things. And for me, it's really a constant conflict between finding out, okay, where, because yeah, where am I being taken advantage of, and when is it on her and when is it on me? Like, so, because sometimes I feel like she can do this herself. She's just making it. That's the feeling, at least, that I have. She's making it bigger than um, like a particular thing. She's now asking too much. She's asking something that she can at this particular moment can do herself, for example.
Mm.
And um, yeah, and it's a constant conflict inside of me, and yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
It's difficult because I don't know what's right, and I don't want to deny myself too much, but I also don't want to, I want to take care of her, especially if it's needed.
Mm.
And yeah,
Mm. Yeah, difficult, eh?
yes, yeah,
Difficult to find that balance.
yeah.
Yeah, just give me a moment. Let me see what comes.
Okay, I just want to add one more thing, and that's also because I've taken I've taken too much from her in my life, and that has really impacted me and confused me. And it's become more clear that I've taken too much. I really even had like bad dreams about her and stuff like that. And so now it's becoming more clear that I've taken too much. But now, so I almost have this feeling like this kind of like a counter movement now.
Mm.
And it's maybe a really inappropriate time now because she actually has a concussion. And yeah,
Yeah.
I hope you know what I mean with that. I don't know that it's too complicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's really healthy and relevant to speak about these things. Like I think that to think about it and to put it into context is really healthy, and to bring the subject up and to check in with people and to ask other people that are around you for advice. And so then I think to myself, okay, so what is the most helpful thing that I could do for you now? Because that is like really complex. Like I can't possibly determine or help you in that way, because it's such deep embedded feelings that you need to spend ages exploring it, checking in, going back to the subject. It needs to be something that's talked about regularly to try and work it out, like understanding the way in which your parents raised you and what they taught you to be or do, or what roles you were given in the family. Like there's so many different directions, how it feels in your body, like what chakras are being activated. So there's all types of subject, which is just too complex really for us to go into. So then, in what way can I serve you the most? And what I could do that's the most serving and most beneficial is to tell you and inform you to speak about this with people. I think that this is something that you need to keep bringing up into conversation. So finding someone that you trust, that you can reflect on, that maybe knows you both, and that can have a balanced view, and keep asking, keep checking in with yourself. But then besides that, the most helpful thing I can do is point you back to the stillness that's in you now. Like, do you have a sense of that stillness, of what you are?
I have a sense, and
what does that feel like?
Well, it progressively feels like a vibrating, warm space.
Yeah.
But there's some. I actually, when we did the meditation, I actually teared up a little bit, because I really felt like I really had I was kind of almost like standing into the. I felt that what I was didn't take any effort. It was there. Yeah, it's becoming more to the foreground. There's just some parts that are blocking it, and they're constantly being pushed on, and it feels like they're being burned. It's, yeah.
And where do you feel like you're experiencing from now? Where do you feel the experiencer is?
I can feel some contractions that feel like a me, but I don't experience the world really through. That's kind of like I experience the world more and more through like relaxation. So the reference point is being other reference points. I feel like multiple contractions, especially in my stomach and now behind my left neck. They're contractions, and I like energetically that feels like a me, like me. It feels like it's going to be relaxed more and more. But intellectually, there's not really a reference point. But it still feels that I'm kind of like, yeah, because of this contraction, it still feels like I'm somewhere. It's like half, yeah. Yeah. It's the more I relax, the less the world becomes less solid. So when I'm getting more contracted, also the world starts to feel more contracted.
Yeah,
like
totally.
more real.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And so right now, that consciousness of what you are, consciousness is such a limiting word in a way, but it's so hard to find a good word. But so the
Yeah.
consciousness, which is, you could say, looking through that body, is in my voice, is in the computer, is in the whole room, in the walls, in the sounds. Is in and is everything that's appearing in experience now. And that includes the feelings that you have about your sister and the discomforts and the triggers that you experience, if you still have them. And what happens is, so you have a trigger that happens, and then there's a discomfort in the body, and then there is this person that goes in to seek for resolution to it. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean like naturally finding a resolution to something. So exploring a trigger point doesn't mean it's seeking. But there is this other energy that seeks to avoid what's being felt.
Yeah.
It can't bear feeling this way. And it's not even conscious of that. There's not any part of the body mind that's conscious of this seeking energy. This seeking energy feels like who you are, and in essence, it's like an agitation, like a discomfort with what's happening right now,
Yeah.
and the need for distraction. But it's not even conscious of that. That's totally happening unconscious in most human beings.
Mm.
So there is this space of what you are, and then these feelings that are arising. And it's like, it's almost as if you fall out of that space and you fall into a separate person in time.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And it's not really like that. It's just an image that I'm giving, and then you fall into this person, and then you seek for freedom. But the whole time there is this space, and that's the center. And
Mm.
it's like coming back to that again and again and again, and then addressing the problems in the personality structure from that center. Sometimes you have to go the other way around. You have to go from bottom up, as Roger would call it, like, so meaning that you have to work out psychology, like I recommend that too, but also working out afterwards is great
Mm.
as well, like really coming back to knowing who you are. The freedom isn't in you're working out the problems with your sister or working out these trigger points.
Yeah.
The freedom is always in that empty looking and the beingness of what you are right now.
Mm.
But it's also wise to look at those things. But it's noticing that different and noticing any seeking that arises around that.
Yeah. I
I,
feel. Oh yeah.
yeah, carry on.
I feel like um I I'm not a non-duality expert, but I feel I feel like I don't want to. So I feel like the freedom is maybe not in that, but the there are particular feelings that are not being completely felt. It feels like, and that's like creating a separate self. It feels like.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
totally. And I can imagine there are deeper feelings in the your sister dynamic. And it's like we're not prepared to feel those feelings, so then we seek to be something else. And it's normally that they're shadow. It's normally like there might be deep down in there like jealousy of your sister getting all these things, or like dark things that we don't want to see, or anger or
yeah,
frustration or hate or rage towards her. And
yeah,
so often we don't want to see these shadow sides, but it's not like a conscious thing. It's like so unconscious because we want to be the shining light, good boy that shines light from every orifice. We
yeah,
can't acknowledge that. So then, as soon as it begins to come up a little bit, it goes into seeking. So it comes
yeah,
up like this annoyance towards her, and then it goes into seeking to try to avoid that.
yeah.
Or it feels jealousy, and then it goes into seeking to avoid that.
Yeah. I do want to say I feel like it's true. It's certainly true. I do feel like there are
Mm.
a lot of layers to it. So I feel like the more layers I go to, the more stuff comes up. So first maybe like annoyance, and now it's more like a hatred thing, and like something I can't feel,
Mm.
and I can't feel it, but it's not completely. It feels like it's too much. Like
Mm. Yeah, totally. It's it. That's exactly why seeking begins, because we, at a young age, we begin to be told what we have to be, and then there's the
mm,
reality of what we are. Obviously, as children, we are trying to fit in, and we have to learn how to control our emotions.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, we're taught, maybe there's a different approach now with new generations having kids, but like my generation were taught that you've just not got to be a bad girl, you've got to be a good girl, and this is what a good
Yeah.
girl looks like. Like in
Yeah.
my generation, I was taught that I had to be a girly girl, and I had to be very feminine, I had to be
Mhm.
submissive, like I had to be all these ideas of what a woman is. And so this is where the personality is constructed, because I wasn't that. I wasn't this typical, stereotypical girly girl. I
Mhm.
don't know if many women are. There's some that fit into that naturally, but a lot of women aren't like that. And so then you have to deny parts of yourself and
Yeah.
suppressed parts of yourself, and then you lose sense of what it is you need and you want. And then there's like lots of seeking, because there's discomfort, and lots of tuning out. And seeking can look like, binging on food, watching lots of TV, exhaustion, not wanting to do things. Like that is seeking. It's like trying to numb yourself out
Mhm.
from the current experience you're having. So then as you get into this subject, there has to be like a re-embodying the shadow.
Yeah.
Like the shadow, like that which was told it wasn't good. So me being more like, it's not that I'm a tomboy. It's not boyish behaviors that I'm displaying. I'm just not displaying like these girly girl sides. So it's
Mhm.
like that
Mhm.
that part has to come up, but also the anger and the annoyance has to come up about having that suppressed. Like the energy has to
Yeah.
come up that's been suppressed in it. And
Yeah.
it's just like you see it happening to children all the time, like all the things they've got to be and like put on them. And really, what's most important in raising a child is help them understand their emotions and help them reflect back their needs and wants and understand limits and empathy and compassion and fitting in with the society, rather than
Mhm.
this like imposing what it is to be a human. It's more
Yeah.
like letting the human unfold as itself as you teach it how
Yeah.
to unfold, which is wants and needs and like
Mhm.
understanding. Because
I
it's
feel, yeah,
it's just
I
coming back to that.
it's funny because so what happened on my journey, like before I got really sick mentally, and at first I was really into psychology and things like that, and then over the years I started to get into spirituality, non-duality, and meditation, and at first it was like almost like zooming out, a lot of zooming out,
Mm,
and now since a few months it feels like I'm coming back. I'm kind of like zooming in again, and like going into back into my body.
mm,
But now all those and it's like the more like an expressive side. It's also like coming forth. It generates also a lot of energy and having to express myself. For me, that's really
mm,
scary because I've been really being an internalizer,
mm.
and
Yeah, that completely changes the personality and the dynamics. If you become an expresser, like yeah, it changes things.
yeah,
Mm,
it's
yeah,
funny. One thing when you said this also happened during the meditation. Like you just said something about, oh yeah, but consciousness is in the computer screen and in this and in that, and normally I'm like, yeah, I already know that, and now there was something, wait, that try to listen even better,
mm,
and like I almost heard you like better, and that happened during the meditation as well, and suddenly I could feel it, but I could, but at the same, but I also could feel like a wall of sadness coming up, and
mm,
because I don't know, it almost felt like it was hurt, and then I wanted to merge with that, but like a wall of sadness, like blocked the emotion, kept me back.
mm,
Like, yeah,
mm. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, you can imagine how that happens.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay, well, thanks. It was nice speaking to you.
Yeah, thanks, Hans. Yeah, I really appreciate speaking with you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.